The film opens in a post-apocalyptic world where the majority of Australia has been reduced to a barren desert. A young girl named Furiosa and her friend Valkyrie are in the woods. They are picking peaches when they witness a group of marauders butchering a horse. Furiosa orders Valkyrie to hide since they need to keep their home's location safe from intruders. She then makes an attempt to damage the gang's motorcycles. While Furiosa calls out for assistance, the gang captures her and takes her away. In a remote oasis dwells a tribe known as the Vuvalini of the Many Mothers. Furiosa's mother, Mary, and others start perusing the gang members. They take out most of them, but not the one who is with Furiosa. The last remaining gang member eventually makes it to a camp, which is ruled by a ruthless killer named Dementus. Furiosa cuts the gang member's throat before he can reveal where the oasis is. Furiosa is brought to a tent by Dementus, who says he lost his own children during the apocalypse and vows to take her home the next day. Mary enters covertly during a sandstorm, takes out the guards, and escapes with her kid. However, Dementus uses his bloodhounds to find the two. Dementus and his group eventually apprehend the pair. He torments Mary cruelly in front of Furiosa in order to find the oasis, but Mary never divulges the location before passing away. After that, Furiosa stops talking and stays silent for years. A seed from the peach tree Furiosa was picking is all that is left to bring her memories of home. Later on, even though Dementus frequently refers to Furiosa as his daughter, she is maintained as his prisoner. She is made to watch as his group gets bigger and more vicious. Dementus and his people even ambush a smaller group and coerce them into joining his gang. The smaller group's leader gets shackled to 5 motorcycles as part of a ritual. The remaining group members are then compelled to engage in combat in order to board the motorcycle. If they fail, Dementus will have them all executed. The 5 winners pile into the motorcycle and start tearing apart their former boss. Later, Dementus and his group come upon a brain-damaged war boy who is lost in the desert after being injured in combat with an unidentified foe. The war boy informs Dementus about his residence in the citadel, where food and drink abound. They fire off the war boy's flare rifle while he is going through his kit. The flare rifle blasts a red color that gets all over Dementus. To Dementus's delight, his beard starts turning red, and he likes the new look. Dementus and his enormous gang then attempt to turn the populace against their master, Immortan Joe, by driving into the citadel, a fortress carved out of rock formations that collects and stores pure fresh water from below the surface in a cistern at the top of the forms. Joe makes fun of Dementus with the help of his comrade, the People Eater, and his offspring, Rictus and Scrotus. He orders Joe's soldiers, the war boys, to launch explosives onto Dementus' group from a height and tow away numerous of their cars using cranes. With what is left of his army, Dementus withdraws and starts observing the citadel. He finds out that the citadel buys gas from Gastown nearby and swaps it for bullets from the Bullet Farm, another nearby location, in exchange for food and water. While traveling to Gastown, one of the citadel's delivery trucks, referred to as a war rig, is overrun by Dementus and his troops, who then utilize it to surreptitiously insert their fighters. After ambushing Gastown's forces inside, Dementus's warriors unlock the gates and seize control. Dementus, now the new leader, starts talks with Joe by threatening to blow up Gastown with a remote detonation if Joe tries to murder him. In exchange for Furiosa and the organic mechanic, a guy with medical skills, Joe offers to send more food and water to Gastown. Healthy women are hard to come by, so Joe plans to use Furiosa as a breeder someday. Dementus rejects the arrangement, claiming that Joe will not keep him apart from his daughter. For the first time in years, Furiosa speaks up and declares that she is not Dementus's daughter and that she wants to join the Citadel. Then, Dementus agrees to the terms. Eventually, Furiosa succeeds in breaking out of the chamber where Joe holds his breeders and chained women. She then dons a boy's outfit and joins Scrotus's team to construct more lethal war rigs and new cars. After several years, Furiosa is a young adult. She is well liked within the crew because she has demonstrated her mechanical prowess. Furiosa keeps acting as though she can't speak. In order to get home, she covertly devises a strategy to flee. Joe's greatest driver is Praetorian Jack, who has never misplaced a war rig while being transported. Furiosa straps herself to the undercarriage of the war rig and slips aboard as he departs for his latest run to Gastown and Bullet Farm. Regretfully, a gang that broke away from Dementus's gang and was banished from Gastown attacks the Warrig. A huge fight breaks out, in which the gang uses every kind of glider and flying vehicle to take down Jack and his crew. Jack and Furiosa were the only ones who survived the conflict. Jack is able to stop Furiosa from stealing the war rig. After they converse, Jack offers to train Furiosa as an apprentice so she can pick up all of his knowledge about fighting and automobiles. Knowing that, she will be able to make a suitable getaway when the time comes. Furiosa agrees to his proposal. As more time goes by, Furiosa becomes a Praetorian and is ranked second in command behind Jack. Additionally, the two have fallen in love. Jack claims to think that Furiosa is prepared to flee for her freedom during a conversation with her one evening on a secret crag on top of the citadel. He also says that he helped her because he felt that aiding her would finally allow him to fulfill his parents' belief that fighting for a cause is the most essential thing. Then Jack asks if Furiosa will allow him to accompany her, and she says yes. The Bullet Farmer, the farm's commander, informs Joe and himself that Gastown is beginning to collapse, and that they should strike Dementus while he is preoccupied with the chaos during their next run to the Bullet Farm. The two discover that Gastown is, in fact, in disarray, and on the verge of collapse when they get there. Many people are starving, despite the food supplies, because of Dementus's poor administration. Dementus shows up as the food and water are being unloaded, and he asks to meet with Joe and the Bullet Farmer to talk about how they can get Gastown back on track. He then incites a commotion among the populace, and Jack and Furiosa barely make it out alive. After they bring Joe the news, he summons the Bullet Farmer to the Citadel, where he discusses his options with his advisors and sons. At some point, they make the decision to attack Dementus and give the Praetorians instructions to return with as much ammunition as they can carry to the Bullet Farm. During this mission, Furiosa and Jack make the decision to flee after getting their orders. Dementus and his soldiers ambush the Citadel forces at the Bullet Farm. Dementus had planned on Joe and the Bullet Farmer trying to steal all the ammunition and murder him, so he launched a surprise attack against the farm and stole it for himself while the farmer was away. After the war boys are swiftly eliminated, Jack finds himself confined to Bullet Farm. He orders Furiosa, who escaped the trap, to get out of the way while he goes for Dementus alone. She willingly enters the Bullet Farm and won't give up on him. They both succeed in making a remarkable getaway. Furious with them for their disobedience, Dementus and his troops go after the two. Despite their best attempts, Dementus, who is unaware that Furiosa is now an adult, captures Furiosa and Jack. He ties Furiosa up as retaliation for their love and hope, and then he has Jack slain by having him dragged to death by a motorcycle and devoured by his bloodhounds. Furiosa sabotages Dementus's vehicles, cuts off her shackled arm, and makes her getaway during the spectacle. She makes her way back to the Citadel, where she informs Immortan Joe and the Bullet Farmer what happened, with the help of Mad Max Rockatansky, who is seen observing her as she crosses the desert. Then she swears that she will kill Dementus herself. There is war, which Scrotus leads. Furiosa constructs a mechanical arm for herself and drives to the front as the war is being fought. There, she discovers the victory of Scrotus in the conflict. Dementus fled into the desert despite the fact that his army had been routed. Furiosa stalks Dementus and his last companions into the desert, killing them both. In the end, Dementus is the only member of his once powerful gang still alive. One morning, he awakens to discover his motorcycle wrecked, his canteen slashed open, and his weapons empty of ammunition. He gives in to Furiosa after a short struggle when she confronts him. Over time, as she torments him, he comes to understand her identity. Rather than being afraid of her, he is ecstatic to see his daughter again. He claims that since Furiosa will now follow her own path of vengeance and bloodlust, she will be his rightful heir. Furiosa disputes his assertions, stating she will demonstrate her differences from him. The film's narrator presents multiple possible endings. One is that Furiosa kills Dementus by shooting him. She also torments Dementus in a manner similar to how he tormented Mary and Jack. However, the narrator then divulges what Furiosa claims transpired. According to Furiosa, she returned Dementus to the Citadel. It was there that she inserted the peach tree seed inside him. The tree sprouted from his stomach and continued to grow fruit from his miserable body as it developed. Furiosa is then transporting the wives of Immortan Joe into her war rig in order to free them from Joe's oppression and the Citadel. Here, this movie ends. Thank you for being a part of our video. If these tales of mystery and intrigue sent shivers down your spine, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more bone-chilling narratives. Stay tuned. And until next time, stay captivated.